Well, good morning everybody. This is DearMamaSal on a very cloudy looking Monday morning. It's 12 degrees here in southern British Columbia, and that would make it 53 if we translate it through into American. It is funny how a couple of vlogs where I didn't mention the temperature or didn't say good morning the correct way, that some of you actually missed that, and I think that is so adorable. I must admit that sometimes if I take a lot of footage, I will break it up into two different vlogs and so the second one won't have the right intro for you. Get over it, it'll happen. But I thought it was really cute, and I really didn't realize that I do that as regularly as I do. I guess I do, and it doesn't feel right to me either, if that makes it any better. It actually doesn't feel right if I don't say good morning, this is DearMamaSal, and I look here, it's cloudy and the temperatures are... It's really strange, isn't it, how you sort of fall into that routine of how to start a vlog. So a big hug. Thank you for those of you who noticed it. Thank you for those of you who said you missed it. It doesn't sound like a proper vlog. Of course we know it is, but I understood totally. I started to laugh and went, I know what you mean. So here's the question that I have for those people who mentioned that. What do I do when I do a second cut? You know what I mean? Like the first, what would you have me do? Because I can't do a voiceover, because if I do a voiceover, I will be doing a voiceover myself talking. That won't work. If I put a clip of me saying it in the front, it's going to be pretty obvious I'm not wearing the same things and I'm not in the same place. Okay, help me here. This is fun. Come up with some creative ways in which I can still start it the same way. It's called the Plan B route. Okay, so what I love about you guys is you're all so creative. So let's come up with a plan. We can do this. I had a wonderful weekend. I love Mondays because I get to do a weekend wrap-up. I really did enjoy a lot about this weekend. First of all, you see I'm crying with laughter here already. First of all, I had a couple of great broadcasts on Friday, which was awesome. And we had some really good discussions again, and that's what I really enjoy about doing the broadcasts, is that we get into stuff. Do you know what I mean? We get to discuss stuff, and because we know there is necessarily no right answer or wrong answer, we just get to discuss answers. And what happens is if nobody's got any issues going on, then we come up with questions, value questions and so forth, to see how everybody responds, and then normally it ends up that we get on to talking about that. Well, we had Liz come back from her trip to Vancouver, and it was a difficult trip for her, and that was the downside. And she discussed why, and I'm not going to discuss that because I don't think I asked permission to discuss it. But here was the good news, and I've got to fill up my washer fluid. I'm going to remember that when it's raining, right? All right. Anyway, but the good news was that she realized how much she'd learnt by being part of the broadcast group and watching the vlogs and so forth, how much she had learned, because she said on the trip home she really realized this was not her stuff. She didn't need to get involved with it, and she had done a good deed but didn't need to invest a whole lot more energy into. And I went, wow. And we all went. I could, maybe not literally wow, but you could just feel that everybody was so impressed with the way in which she had reacted. and that she had learned those lessons. And then a couple of other people were saying how much they had grown, and they could feel it. So I think personal growth is a wonderful thing. And I think it's what I call a lifelong mission. It's not, you don't just read one book and then you got it. We constantly fall into the traps. And that's why, as some of you know, that's why I wanted to start doing Dear Mama Sal, because what if we could just talk about life in general and people could learn from it? Wow, wouldn't that be awesome? And so, yay, we've done a great job. So I really, really enjoyed that. And then on Saturday, I managed to put in an extra broadcast, which I don't normally do on a Saturday. But I wanted to do a hangout because I wanted to try and talk to some new people. And don't get me wrong, I love my broadcast regulars. I really do. I mean, they're like family in lots of different levels. But I sometimes wonder whether we are that we miss out, on some people. So I really do want to challenge myself to start doing some things at different times of the day to talk to different viewers. Because when I can talk to different viewers, I get a whole different perception of what they value and what's important. And so I really want to thank Ash and Lisa, who joined me, along with Anna Marie. Actually, Anna Marie popped in because she couldn't sleep. And so Ash joined us from New Zealand, and some of you will have seen she's a pretty regular commenter on our vlogs, and we love that. And so it was great to actually meet her. And what a very down-to-earth, pragmatic, I really tell it like it is sort of person. I really adored her personality. You don't, it's very much, I want to almost say, I wanted to say raw, but I think raw doesn't do it. I would trust Ash. If she didn't like what I was wearing, she'd tell me. Do you know what I mean? That sort of a person. She wouldn't fart ass around trying to be polite. She would just say, nah, doesn't do it for me. So it was really interesting chatting to her, and also listening to the fact that she's actually studying psych in university, and it was just amazing to hear some of her stories and some of her input. So thank you so much, Ash. I really, really enjoyed it, as you know. And then we also met Lisa, who is a viewer from California, who I think also comments now and then. And Lisa was telling us about her life and some of the struggles that she's going through at the moment. And it was really fascinating to hear her tell that truth. And good for you, Lisa. Well done. And Lisa, I just need you to know as well that obviously there was a reason why you and Ashley came on together. And Ash, if you can continue to give... Sorry people, we just got some roadworks in my way. And that is more important than anything when I'm driving. So the main thing was to try and get some support to Lisa, who was just awesome. And she was just talking about how she's struggling with whether she should go to work or continue her studies. I gather that her initial studies got sort of screwed up a bit by life, and but she is living at home and she does have the ability to be able to do it. And although I said to her, this is her choice, what she does is her choice, I must admit that I really did encourage her to carry on with her studies. It's so much more difficult to study when you have stopped studying. Do you know what I mean? But what I loved as well is that in talking to Lisa, we found out that she appears to have plenty of time to work out, but not plenty of time to study. Uh-oh. I see flashing police lights ahead. That is not a good thing. I think I'd be changing lanes right now. Anyway, so, and that was a sort of like a 2x4 for Lisa, but really appreciated the fact that she got that. Well done, Lisa. So we can tell what's important in our lives by how much time we give it. And talking about how much time we give it, on Saturday it was a magnificent day. We don't get many magnificent days in British Columbia. It really was a magnificent day. And why on earth would a police car stop a guy halfway up a hill? Oh, unless... Oh, wait a minute. Before I make that judgment call. Maybe that guy is stuck halfway up a hill and the police car is behind it warning people. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, I'll think that it goes that way. Oh. So anyway, Saturday I got up, beautiful morning, and I thought, okay, that's it, no excuses. Put on my runners and off I went. I drove down to a local bird sanctuary, which is really quite pretty. And I decided to do a walk around it and chat to you guys while I did it. Well, off and on. And part of it made me think of, this happens to me quite often when I'm doing stuff, which is how many of my viewers, can't do this walk for various reasons. And it was funny because I've, over the years, done various things where I've thought, oh, I've got to do this because who's ever going to get a chance to see this? So it's a good thing for the soul. I find it very relaxing for my soul to be able to go. When I saw that beautiful overhang, for those of you who saw that video, that looked like it came out of a children's fairy tale book. You know what I mean? It just was so pretty, and it was great fun. Anyway, I managed to do 2 and 3/4 miles, I think that was right, in an hour. Now that doesn't win any, Olympic prizes for anybody, but what it does, it tells me I'm capable of doing 2 and 3/4 miles. So I thought of you, Charlotte. It was funny because I really was thinking of Charlotte, and I'm thinking, Charlotte must have started like this as well, trying to build up the stamina to be able to do this. Now, I didn't jog it or anything, you understand? I mean, I just walked it. And I've got to tell you, Charlotte, I'm pretty darn impressed when I think about that you do twice that distance. Right, that's right. You do twice that distance. Is that right? That's a 5K. Wow. Right, you know what's happening, Charlotte? I'm thinking, that's not that bad. I'm halfway there. Wow. Wouldn't that be something to work towards? And you're all going. I can imagine some of you groaning. And I can hear Andrew going, take the camera. But no, I was thinking that wouldn't be a bad thing. I don't have to run it, do I? I bet you I'm going to regret this statement. Anyway, I felt very proud of myself, and I have to say that I think, though, part of the reason I went so far was because there was no turn back. Once you were on that, once you got so far, you might as well keep going forward, because going forward was less than going back. All right, I wonder if that makes sense, right? Because there wasn't a sort of shortcut where you could deviate off and get back to the start anyway. You just, if you were on the path, you were on the path, and the path went all the way around. So in a way that was a good thing, because I couldn't stop, well, unless I planned to stay there for a day or two. So I think what I'm going to do this week is to research other similar walks where either I've got to walk out for half an hour and then turn around and go back to my car. You see, that's clever as well. If I want to get home, I need to get all the way back. Or else ones that, are roughly the same length all the way around. I've done half. Yeah, I don't know why. It never struck me. That's half of a 5K, and I've done that. Yay! How exciting is that? And yet I'm probably close to the heaviest I've ever been. Okay, we're going to walk up. So the thing was, it took me an hour, and it made a lot of sense for me to do it on a Saturday. And it really did help that it was a beautiful day. Now, I do understand that this was probably a strange time of the year for me to decide to start doing this, because we're going into some very wet and nasty weather, which is great for excuses. And so I will have to see what I can do about that. I made a pot roast last night. It was good. It was really good. Made a pot roast, beef pot roast with some magnificent Yorkshire puddings. If any of you want to see what Yorkshire puddings can look like, they're on the Instagram page. That's the real DearMamaSal is what you have to type in Instagram, the real DearMamaSal, because somebody took my DearMamaSal name. But they really are very pretty. I went, oh yeah, I'll take a picture of those. The neighbor is doing a grand job cutting up the tree, and he decided to make lemonade out of the lemons. In other words, he is busy cutting up the trees, and what I didn't know was he still has a wood-burning fireplace. So he went, okay, fine. Gift from God. So he is not just cutting up the trees, he's cutting them up into useful sizes that will go into his fireplace. And I heard, and I didn't know that, I heard that it doesn't take a year to season logs for the fireplace. They can be seasoned in a few months. I didn't know that. Amazing the things you learn. So my thought for the day, it's a bit late to mention it, isn't it? His weekend wrap-up. I love it when I can do that. But my challenge for today is, I know. In terms of the balance survey, if you haven't seen the video with the results on it, you may want to check that out. There is a video, I did it Friday, I think, or somewhere around there, with the results of the balance survey. And here's what I was going to say to you, that is, if you still haven't done it, if you look at the information below the video here, where it says see more or something like that, the link is there. It's the first link, I think, now. I've put that on there so that you can go there if you haven't done it, because apparently a lot of you didn't know where to do it, and I'm going, okay, my bad. And if the results change dramatically, I will redo the results. In other words, I will do a version 2 of the results. But it was interesting, and what was interesting to me particularly was that, well, if you haven't done the survey yet, was that people for the first time are muttering about their social life. And that's never come up as a major issue before. But really, it rated very low. So let's have a talk about that. And we're going to be talking about that during this week. And in the meantime, I'd like you to think about your social life, or lack thereof, and remind yourself that if you don't have any, then you need to look in the mirror. Because the person who controls your social life is you. You are not spending enough time being social. End of story. You know, it's not about, well, I would, but it's like you're not spending enough time being social. And what I want you to think about is, why is it important? Why is it important to our health? And why is it important to our emotional stability? And I'd like you to give me some feedback on that one. Why is having a social life important? In other words, if you were busy talking to your son or daughter, and they were busy playing video games all day long or whatever it was, would you be advising them that they need to go out and play with their friends, or they need to go and socialize? And if so, what reason would you be giving? And the reason that I would appreciate that feedback is because I think a lot of you have different feedback on that score. Why do we need to be social? And then let's see what sort of discussion we can start up on the comments about why it's important. Why do we need to accept the some very odd invitations, let's be honest. Why do we need to accept the odd invitation to go out, even though we'd far rather not do so? And then, of course, the obvious is coming, which is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Or are you going to keep muttering about the fact that you don't have a social life? Now, I would really appreciate having feedback from all the age groups, because I know I've got all the age groups. And by the way, if you can, I'd really appreciate it, if you're not a regular, if you can give us a sort of indication, 26 UK, female, F for female, right? Something like that, so that we get an idea of how old you are, and that the comments you're making come from the UK rather than from New Zealand, for example, in Ashes ground. You're just going to be Ashes ground, huh? I like that. All right, are you ready for it? Here we go. Have a great day. Look after one another, but most of all, look after yourself. And this is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.